Greetings, everybody. What's happening? What's happening? It's crazy because you know why? It's March 4th. I still have people sending me pictures of New Year's celebrations, and that was almost 3 months ago. Actually, 3 months and 3 days ago. 2 months, 3 months, whatever. But anyway, this is your man, Dr. Rory T. Edwards, as we do each and every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We are doing house calls. And if you definitely like to get in touch with us, you can send us an email at rorytedwards1 at gmail.com. Once again, that's rorytedwards1 at gmail.com. And we also have now a business email, which is rorytedwardsgroup.info@gmail.com. So let's get into tonight's episode because we're talking about one of the pillars that is probably 85% of the conversations that I have with individuals. This pillar is like 85% of what people are complaining about. When you ask people, what do you think is the biggest factor that's creating the opportunity for you not to be in your best position? The first thing they say is money. Well, money. We're going to talk about the financial pillar tonight. Because like I said, in most cases when I address that or when I break that down, most people find out it's really not about the money. It's about how you navigate through the other pillars to get to the money. All right? So we want to talk about why money still feels heavy even when you have it. Why does money feel heavy when you have it? So let's talk about this pillar that nobody wants to examine too closely. Money. We say we want more of it. We want to work for it. We want to work extended hours. We're taking overtime shift in a minute to make more money. We sacrifice for it and we measure ourselves by it. How many people understand that topic when I'm saying we measure ourselves by it? But here's the truth that many of us don't want to admit. Money is a wonderful servant, but it's a terrible master. I'm going to say that again. Money is a wonderful servant, but it's a terrible master. If it serves you, it creates options. If it masters you, it creates pressure. So today we're talking about the financial pillar. So let's do the diagnosis. You know, the house call, I come over to your house, I examine you, and I give you a diagnosis of what, based on the medical perspective of what is actually wrong with you. I'm going to give you the diagnosis. So the financial pillar isn't about income. It's about your relationship with money. So let me tell you what money governs. Money governs your security. It governs your freedom. It governs your control. It governs anxiety around survival and identifies and is tied to the provisions on how you move through your life. This pillar exists because money influences nearly every one of the pillars in this system. Your housing, the more money you have, the bigger house you want to get. Your food, you know, I see people sometimes at the store on a particular day and they go out there and they get crab legs galore. They get like $75 for his first worth of crab legs because you know their money game is elevated a little bit, and then it also governs your access, your status, and your perception. Because most of people don't realize this. Money isn't heavy because of the numbers. It's because it's heavy because of the meaning you attach to it, right? So let's talk about the posture that people do with money. So let's be honest for a minute. Let's just be honest for a minute. In many cases, you can tell when someone has money. You can tell. They come out to the club, they want to set up the whole bar, they sitting around, they got their car clean, they come back, they got some new clothes. They doing this. So you can tell when somebody has money because we posture around money. Like I said, we upgrade our car. We stretch the budget. We present images. We signal stability and we make this pillar look strong. What season are we in right now? Tax season. And you see all the advertisements coming out about put this money down on a new car, do this, do that, because people know people are trying to get their taxes back. And we know that a lot of people, why money feels heavy, because you can't hold on to it. You don't know how to invest it right. You don't know how to save any money, because as soon as it hits your pocket, it's like hot. It got to get going. It got to get up out your pocket. And so that's why, because in our culture, financial strength equals competence, right? A lot of people look at it like the more money I got, the more powerful I am, the more intelligent I am, the more gifts that I have been received, and the more blessings that I have been bestowed upon. But privately, there's pressure, there's comparison, there's those quiet thoughts. What if I can't maintain this? That's not financial weakness. That's money trying to move from servant to master. And a lot of times, I'm going to say that one more time. That's not financial weakness when you say to yourself, what if something happens? What if I can't maintain this? What if my job gets replaced by robotics? What if my job gets replaced by AI? Because see, now what you're doing is you're establishing your status by the money, and that's money trying to move from servant to master. So why does this pillar exist in the Empower Nine? This pillar exists because to support a system. In our system, we understand, like I said, most of the clients that I've had, 85% of them, when you ask, well, what is the reason you're in the condition you're in? They say money. My money, my money, my money. When you say explain that, they really can't explain it. But when money functions properly, let me tell you what money does. It serves your values. It supports your health. It protects your relationship. It fuels your purpose, right? But when money becomes master, decisions become fear-based. Work becomes obligation instead of a calling. Relationships become transactional, and rest feels irresponsible. So let me go back to some of the relationship becomes transactional, because we see all the time that we see these star athletes and they get connected with someone, and a few minutes down the line, they're being separated, they're being divorced for something, irreplaceable, inseparable or something relationships. You know what I'm talking about. And the reason why is because the person says is that, I don't love them anymore. But the fact is that they understand that the money is beginning to digress. And so they can't be around them. So they're trying to get that next bag, right? So they're not thinking about the person anymore. They're trying to get that bag. So there's people out there who were built to just chase bags. And so you have to understand that money defines who they are. But the occupational pillar, and then slowly, this is what happens when the money bag and the money pillar and the financial pillar starts to deteriorate. The occupational pillar bends, the emotional pillar tightens. You hear people with their mouth now, because the money's not the same. You hear the mouth. The relationship pillar strains, like I just spoke about. Relationships for people, they say, people get married and they say for better or for worse. But when the worst hits, they ghost, because the worst usually is connected to financial stability. So because now you're not working for alignment, you're working to maintain an image, because the money defines your image. If you walk around and people see you, dressed all the time, got a nice car, and then they see you and they don't see you in that same form, they think that your money has fallen off. They never ask you if you're sick, if your health is okay, if things have changed in your life to determine how you're looking that way. The first thing they think about is the money's gone. So let me just speak to you a little bit on how this can actually determine how you sort of rectify that financial pillar. See, maybe you don't lack money. Maybe you earn well. Maybe people assume you're good. But if money still feels heavy to you, if you feel pressure to maintain a lifestyle, if your worth rises and falls with your income, then the pillar isn't weak, it's over leveraged. And posture is expensive. See, when you over leverage your posture or your position in life by the money, what you've done is you're over leveraging the money. And what happens is your posture starts to deteriorate, and that's where it becomes very expensive because you now have to find other ways to commit back to that posturing. So let me give you a stabilizing action. I want to give you a stabilizing action. Don't change your budget this week. Change your awareness, right? Make a budget sheet. Look how you pay your bills. Look how what you spend your money on. But ask yourself, is my money serving my values or managing my identity? Ask yourself. Notice what drives your decisions. Fear equals image. Security equals freedom. No judgment, no clarity, just clarity. Just clarity, because clarity restores hierarchy. Money is a tool, but it was never meant to be a ruler. And so many people use money as a ruler instead of being a tool. But money can be restored through clarity and understanding how you utilize the money to become exactly what you need to be in the space that you're in. You're in right now. But let me tell you this. I want to say this is my closing call to action. Money can build stability. It can create opportunities. It can serve beautifully. But it was never meant to define you. When money becomes master, peace becomes conditional. When money becomes a servant, alignment strengthens. So, as I said, one of the things I want to leave you with is what I need for you to do is take a list of how much money you make, put it down, and then put out all of the bills that you have to do and see what days they are, so you know how to distribute your money to pay the bills that you need to pay. And then whatever money you have left over, you can then posture. But what I would say is that in this whole situation that we're going through now, take a little bit of that money and pay yourself. Pay yourself so that if, back in the day, I remember I used to say, save your money for a rainy day. Well, the way things are going in this world right now, it's about the thunderstorm. So save your money for a rainy day and look at ways that you can generate extra money without touching the money that you make. So, this has been House Calls with your man, Dr. Rory T. Edwards. I told you, you can reach me at www.rorytedwards.com. You can send me an email at rorytedwards1@gmail.com. Or you may also send an inquiry email at rorytedwardsgroup.info@gmail.com. And sometimes we need to realize that the strongest pillar is the one we're most afraid to examine. And in 85% of the people I've ever spoken to, money is that pillar. So I want to say thank you for joining tonight. I'll see you next week on the next episode of House Calls with Dr. Rory T. Edwards as we address the relationship pillar. So once again, Ashe, be well.